talk to you about tonight. I want to talk to you tonight about something called the 5-second rule. And so I'm not the person who came up with the 5-second rule. The person that actually shared the 5-second rule, the person that I heard share this 5-second rule, the person who's also the author of the book that's called the 5-second rule is a lady by the name of Mel Robbins. Mel Robbins, she is a keynote speaker. She is a CNN commentary. She is a phenomenal TEDx speaker. She is a thought leader, a business owner, an innovator. And she shared something that I picked up over the past couple of months that literally blew my mind. And the reason why it blew my mind is sometimes there is power in simplicity. And here's what the 5-second rule is. First of all, here's not what it's not, okay? We're not talking about the 5-second rule. We're not talking about the 5-second rule where if something drops on the ground, you got to make sure that you pick it up and eat it within 5 seconds so that before all the bacteria and everything kicks in. That's not the 5-second rule that I'm talking about. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the 5-second rule that says this, that when your instincts kick in, and you have this desire to do something, whatever that desire is, you have a desire to write the book, you have a desire to start the business, you have a desire to make a career change, you have a desire to move forward and pursue your goals and your dreams. When that instinct kicks in and that idea kicks in for you to go ahead and lunge forward and go after your goals and your dreams and make some great things happen, here's what I want to tell you. You literally have 5 seconds to act. You have 5 seconds to act on your goals and your dreams as soon as the instinct pops up. So that means that if you've had this thought process, you've been thinking about writing the book, you've been thinking about starting the business, you've been thinking about making the career change, you've been thinking about pursuing your goals and your dreams, and every single time the thought comes up, you talk yourself out of it. The reason why you do that is because oftentimes your feelings begin to surface. And so you're saying, well, Andy, what feelings begin to surface? Well, I'll tell you right now, the fear of rejection, right? And so the fear of judgment, the fear of things not necessarily working out. I want to give a shout out to Armando who just jumped in. Hey, so what happens is literally when you have that instinct to move forward and make some great things happen, if you don't act within 5 minutes, here's what happens. Your brain is going to kick in and try to find a way to talk you out of it. And so I'm sitting here and I'm watching this interview that's being done with Mel Robbins, and she's sharing this very simple principle. And at first I'm just thinking, I'm saying, okay, wait a second here, Mel. I'm following you. What are you talking about? 5-second rule. And then she starts sharing her story, and Mel started talking about that, she was at a stage in her life where she was coaching, and all of a sudden she got this tremendous opportunity where they reached out to her. Fox reached out to her and said, hey, listen, Mel, we want to give you your own show. And so she's thinking like, wow, like, I'm about to blow up right now. I just got contacted by Fox. I'm about to have my own show, and say she moves out to California. And when she gets to California, all of a sudden they completely change the way that they were going to set up the show. It went from being really like a family-friendly show where she was going to go into people's offices and make over their offices to now all of a sudden they decided to change the show where they were going to go into an office and they were going to go ahead and fire somebody in order to completely change the business around. So that already didn't sit well on her spirit. Well, here's the other thing that happened. She moves out to California. She's excited about this show that's about to take place. And then to make matters worse, the show gets tabled. And so they cancel the show where all her income is tied to the actual show airing. Now, just when she thought things couldn't get any worse, her husband actually started a restaurant business. And when her husband started a restaurant business, the first restaurant was successful. And so they decided, hey, you know what? The first restaurant is successful. We're going to go all in. So they took an equity line of credit against their home. They went ahead and cashed in a lot of their 401ks and a lot of their savings, took all their money to go ahead and fund the second restaurant that her husband was opening. And guess what happened? That restaurant bombed. And now here's where Mel finds herself. She has this show that now is no longer going to air. She had this income that she was counting on that all of a sudden got cut off. All of the family savings are in this restaurant that her husband was opening, the second location. And now this second location restaurant completely bombs. Now the family is in over $800,000 in debt. Creditors are calling their house. They are literally gone from being a place where they thought that literally they were going to be successful and they were having success to now creditors are calling, they're dead broke, they got an equity line against their home, their house is facing foreclosure, and now she finds herself in a state of depression. And Mel says during the interview She says, this is what the craziest thing is. She said, every single day, I would say to myself, you know what? Tomorrow morning, I'm going to get up. And tomorrow morning, I'm going to start pursuing my goals and my dreams. Tomorrow morning, I'm going to get on the phone. I'm going to start calling up the different networks. I'm going to see if I can get a different show. Tomorrow morning, I'm going to change my life around. Tomorrow morning, I'm going to make some great things happen. And guess what happened? The alarm clock would go off. And guess what? She didn't feel like getting out of the bed. She didn't feel like doing all the things that she said that she was going to do the day before. And maybe you could relate to that. You've been saying to yourself, you know what? Tomorrow, I'm going to write the book. Tomorrow, I'm going to start the business. Tomorrow, I'm going to push past my fears and my disappointments and make this thing happen. And then guess what happens? Tomorrow shows up, and then you don't feel like it anymore. And then all of a sudden, you find yourself delaying it and say, I'm going to do it tomorrow. And next thing you know, it gets pushed off and pushed off. And so Mel is sharing this story, and then she talks about what was the inspiration for her to go ahead and write the book, The 5-Second Rule, and what transformed her life. She says, as stupid as this sounds, as simplistic as this sounds, one day in the state of her depression, she's sitting there and she's watching the television, and a commercial comes up. A commercial comes up. And as the commercial comes up, she sees literally a rocket shooting off. And as the rocket is shooting off, here's what you got to realize. She sees that they're counting down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And she says, as stupid as this sounds, she said, I saw that commercial and it inspired me. And she says, this is what I'm going to do. Tomorrow morning, when I've been saying tomorrow morning now for months, but tomorrow morning, when I'm going to get up and I say I want to go ahead and start making those phone calls, then I'm going to find a way to get myself back on track. Then I'm going to start calling the bill collectors and start making some things happen. She said, tomorrow morning, when I get up to do this thing that I've been meaning to do, and my feelings kick in, and I know that my feelings have kicked in because every other day I did not get out of bed. I've been procrastinating. She said, this time, tomorrow morning, as soon as that alarm clock comes off, I'm going to say 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And before I get down to 1, I'm going to jump out of bed and I'm going to make the things happen before my brain can talk me out of it. And see, that's where the lesson is for you. Here's what I need you to understand right now, that there is something that you're wanting to do. There's something that you've been meaning to act on. And every time you think about doing it, every time you say that you're going to do it, guess what you do? You give yourself more than 5 seconds, and then guess what happens? Your brain begins to pop up, and your brain begins to talk you into it. And your brain begins to talk you right back out of it. And so what happens is you say to yourself, well, you know what? I want to make the career change. But then at the same time, your brain kicks in and says, well, do you really want to leave this job? You've been so comfortable working this job. All of a sudden now your brain kicks in and says, but you know you've been getting that paycheck every 2 weeks. I mean, do you want to leave that paycheck every 2 weeks? And then your brain kicks in and says, well, wait a second here. What if things don't work out? And then there's another part of you that's been saying, you know what? I want to go ahead and start that business. And so you're excited about it. But then you allow more than 5 seconds to go by. And then another part of you says, well, what makes you think that you're qualified to start the business? And anyway, who says that you got the resources? Well, you don't know enough about marketing. You don't know how to speak. You don't know about finances. You don't have the right contacts. You don't have the right people that are going to come in. And every single time you talk yourself into it, your brain goes ahead and talks you right back out of it. And so here's where Mel was trying to make you understand in the book. You got 5 seconds. You hear me? You got 5 seconds. Someone go ahead and type that down. You have 5 seconds to move forward on your goals and your dreams before your brain talks you out of it. And so what she's helping you to do is exercise that muscle so that you can condition yourself to do what you know and not what you feel. Somebody go ahead and type that down in the comments. Here's what I need you to understand. You got to learn to do what you know and not what you feel. Because here's what I know. Here's what you know. You know that you got a dream that you want to act on. You know that there's a book that you want to write. You know that if you don't move forward, that there's some people who are counting on you that unfortunately you'll be able to let them down. You know that you're sick and tired of being sick and tired. You know that you've been saying the same thing over and over and over again. But then your feelings begin to surface. Will I make it? Your feelings begin to surface. I don't know if I could do this. Your feelings begin to surface. And then you talk yourself out of it. And so here's what I know. We're all human. All of us do it. Listen, I've done it. I look back at my own personal life, And I tell you, I wouldn't be where I am right now if I didn't make the decision back in 2004 to leave my job in corporate America with a company I was with by the name of PricewaterhouseCoopers. But here's what I need you to understand is this. I was with this amazing company. I had gotten my master's degree, my undergraduate degree. I was a licensed CPA, okay? And but here's what happened. Here's what I need you to understand. I had the thought of pursuing my goals and my dreams. One day the instinct popped in and something said, Andy, you know what? There's got to be more than this. Andy, why don't you step out there? Why don't you pursue your goals and your dreams? Andy, why don't you go ahead and leave this job? Even though this is a great company, but there's more for you out there. Why don't you take a stand? And every single time I would talk myself into it. And then after that, I talk myself out to it. I said, well, Andy, what if things don't work out? Andy, what are people going to think of you because you're leaving this corporate career, this corporate job? Andy, what if you have to go back and ask for your job again? Andy, what if you fall on your face? Andy, what if things? And so I would talk myself into it and I would talk myself out to it. But here's what I need you to understand. A day went by and I was still having the same conversation. A week went by. I was still having the conversation. A month went by. I was still having the conversation. 6 months went by. I was still having the conversation. 1 year went by and I was still having the conversation. A year and a half went by and I was still having the conversation. And finally I said, Andy, you gotta act. And so in spite of the way that you feel, in spite of the fear, in spite of the fact that you don't know what's going on, here's what you go do, Andy. You go ahead and start typing up this letter right now to Tammy Klein, the lady that was over HR at the time, and you're gonna let her know that December 2004, the month of December, is gonna be your last month with the company. And I tell you, when I was typing up that letter, when I was putting that together, let me tell you, I was scared. I wasn't quite sure what I was going to do. Listen, Joyce Meyer said, you got to do it afraid. Somebody go ahead and type that down in the comments. You got to do it afraid. Listen, I'm telling you right now, stop waiting on the fear to go away. Stop waiting on there to be perfect timing. Listen, the fear is always going to present itself. You're a human being. Fear is always going to show up. And not only that, but here's the other thing I need you to understand. The other thing that I need you to understand is that there would never be anything such thing as perfect timing. Listen, people keep thinking, listen, I'm waiting for the perfect timing. There's no such thing as perfect timing. The perfect time is right now. That's why the 5-second rule is so powerful. Before you can allow your brain to even kick in, you need to act on what it is that you have to do right now. And so if what you've been wanting to do is write the book, if what you've been wanting to do is launch a new career, if what you've been wanting to do is start the business, if what you've been wanting to do is lose the weight, if what you've been wanting to do is get out of debt, what I'm saying to you is you got 5 seconds from the moment that that thing is birthed in you, from the moment that God puts that decision, that thought, that idea in you, you got 5 seconds to act. Because if you do not, guess what's going to happen? Every single time, your feelings are going to surface. And so for me, back in December of 2004, I tell you, I decided, you know what, I got to act right now. I got to act in spite of the fear. And I got to be willing to move forward. Listen, I know you heard it before. Zig Ziglar talks about, fear is false evidence appearing real. I'm going to go ahead and challenge that because, yeah, it may be false evidence appearing real, but I tell you this, okay? The effects of fear are very real. You see, fear will keep you from moving forward on your goals and your dreams. Fear will keep you from taking your life to an entirely different level. Fear will have you 20, 30 years from now and saying to yourself, what if I would have taken a chance on myself? What if I would have started a business? What if I would have made the career change? What if I would have went back and got the other degree? What if I would have asked her to marry me? What if I would have took a chance on myself and relocated? Listen, fear will have you literally saying to yourself that, wait a second, paralyzed and be sitting and taking a backseat view of your goals and your dreams as they drift away, as somebody else acts on your goals and your dreams, as somebody else steps there. So what I need you to understand is this. What makes that 5-second rule so powerful is the fact that when you can act within those 5 seconds, first of all, the act of just counting down, saying 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, as Mel Robbins explains, causes you to immediately have to focus and causes you to have to act. The act of even counting down works. Listen, I tried this after I saw Mel Robbins' interview, and she was describing the 5-second rule. I literally tried this one morning. Now, many of you know my wife and I, we have a newborn at home. Our daughter, Ava Sky, she's a newborn. And so for those of you who have children, you know when you have a newborn at home, guess what? You're not sleeping through the nights, okay? And so it was just about 2 weeks ago, right? The baby's keeping us up. I'm having to wake up several times in the middle of the night. In addition to the baby keeping us up in the middle of the night, I'm not feeling too well. I'm fighting a little cold. I'm fighting a little cough. And then, for some of you know, I do an Orange Theory workout. For some of you may not know, whatever Orange Theory, it's a certain kind of workout. It's a high intensity 1 hour workout. There's franchises all over the place. And I just love the Orange Theory workout. But I signed up for a 7 o'clock class. And so I didn't even get into the bed till about midnight. I got up in the middle of the night more than once to feed my daughter, right? And then the alarm clock goes off at about 6:30 in the morning. And so I need you to understand, all of my body and my mind is telling me, Andy, I don't feel like getting there. I don't feel like getting up. I don't feel like going to work out. I don't feel like making some things happen. I don't feel like doing this right now. And what I tell you is literally because I thought about that 5-second rule, because I thought about something that Mel Robbins talked about. I literally counted down in my mind. I say, Andy, before you get down to 1, you go jump out of this bed. 5, 4, 3, 2. When I got to 2, boom, I was out of the bed. And let me tell you something. I still didn't necessarily feel like being at the Orange Theory class. But because of the fact that I got out of the bed, and because of the fact I went ahead and went in that closet and put on my workout gear, because of the fact that I went ahead and went by the front and went ahead and grabbed myself a real quick banana, I got into the car, still sleepy, still tired, but I drove to the Orange Theory class. And once I got there, all of a sudden, as soon as I got on that treadmill machine, all of a sudden now, the motivation kicked in. As soon as I got in the act of actually making it happen, all of a sudden, the act of moving forward, the act of making things happen, all of a sudden, the things began to kick in. And so what I need you to understand is many of you are waiting for the motivation to kick in before you act, and you have it backwards. And what you really need to do is you need to act in order to get motivated. I'm going to say that one more time. Many of you are waiting for the motivation to kick in before you act. And what I need you to understand is you need to act in order for the motivation to kick in. And so the act of getting up, the act of starting to write, the act of making the phone calls, the act of running in place, doing the push-ups, cutting up the credit cards, whatever it is that you got to do, the act of doing it is, guess what? That's what's going to push you forward. That's what's going to let you to take the thing to the next level. And listen, if you are feeling this message, if something in this message is resonating with you, I want you to go ahead and hit the share button right now, because I know there's somebody that needs to hear this. There's somebody who needs to know the importance of the 5-second rule. And what I need you to understand is this, that the next time your instincts kick in and you have that impulse to do something extraordinary with your life, when you have that impulse to act on a dream, you got that impulse to make something happen, what I'm trying to make you understand is this, that you have 5 seconds. You hear me? You got 5 seconds to act. You got 5 seconds to make it happen. Listen, many of you know this. Just last year, listen, y'all making me sweat right now. I don't normally sweat like this, but I'm in front of these lights right now. You got me excited and I'm sweating. And so you just got to excuse me sweating right now, but I got to give you the business, okay? Last year, this time, I released my book. The title of my book is Show Up for Your Life, 7 Principles to Living an Extraordinary Life. And I tell you that 2 of the hardest things that you'll ever have to do in life is, number 1, start something, and number 2, to actually finish. And so here I was. I actually put in all this time and this effort, and I had been writing this book. And every time I wrote the book, I sort of put it back down. And so now here I am. I wrote the book. The manuscript is basically practically completed. I've already submitted it to one editor. Now I've got it to another editor, and now it's in the hands of the 3rd editor. And now I'm realizing that now is the time for me to cross the finish line. But instead of me going ahead and just crossing the finish line, what do you think I started doing? I started trying to find excuses and reasons to postpone releasing the book. And so what I kept doing is saying to myself, well, maybe I should add another chapter. Well, maybe I should add another story. Maybe I need to go ahead and have another editor look at it. Maybe I need to take it through another proofreader. Maybe I should go ahead and change the design of the book and so forth. And so all I was doing was trying to postpone, and I was trying to delay actually putting out and releasing my book. Now, some people might say, well, Andy, it's because you're a perfectionist. Well, let me tell you, for those of you who you try to take pride in being a perfectionist, right? Because for a while, I tried to go ahead and say, oh, well, maybe, it's just because I'm a perfectionist. Let me try to make you understand something. Most people who are perfectionists, the perfection is actually rooted in fear. And so the reason why they're so perfectionist is because they're so concerned about what other people think or what other people are going to say. And actually, a lot of that so quote unquote perfection is a lot of times insecurity. And they're so concerned about what other people are going to say, what other people are going to think, and what their other dreams and their thoughts are going to be. And so what I need you to understand is this. Stop hiding behind the idea of, oh, I'm a perfectionist. Because that's what I try to do. I try to lie to myself and say, well, Andy, you just want to get it just right. Now, Andy, you just want to make things. And I'll tell you this, I was a final editor. And I said, I don't know, maybe I should add an extra chapter. Maybe I should add this. And here's what the editor said to me. She said, Andy, listen, I've had the opportunity to edit your book. I read this book, and I'm telling you right now, I've edited a lot of books. And I'm telling you, editing this book has literally impacted and has changed my life. And I know that when you release this book is going to change. It is going to impact. It is going to take people's lives to the next level. Now, she says, you can do one of two things. You could go ahead and just release this book right now and go ahead and be a blessing to some people, or you can go ahead and try to appease your ego and try to find another chapter, another story to put in the book just to go ahead and appease your ego. And so needless to say, she busted my little bubble. And so at that moment, that was a little reality check. And so what I realized is I was trying to hide behind my quote unquote ego. I was trying to hide behind the idea of perfection. I was trying to hide behind the idea of getting it done. And all I was doing was trying to postpone getting ready to release it and just putting it out there. And so here's what I need you to understand. I want you to write this down. Stop getting ready. Some of you right now, you've been sitting down on something. You keep saying to yourself, I'm getting ready. I'm getting ready to write the book. I'm getting ready. I'm getting ready to start the business. I'm getting ready to go ahead and do the career change. I'm getting ready to get out of debt. I'm getting ready to lose the weight. I'm getting ready to act on my goals and my dreams. And what I want to tell you right now is you need to stop getting ready and you need to act. You need to literally say to yourself, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And before you even get down to that 0, I need you to act and move and make something happen. Somebody says if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. And so what I know is right now, there are some of you keep telling yourself that you got to get ready. But here's what I know. You're already ready right now. Listen, you have everything you need right now to write the book. You have everything you need right now to make the career change. You have everything you need right now to start the business. You have everything you need right now to start the workout regimen, to change your lifestyle, to lose the weight. You have everything that you need right now to act on your goals and your dreams. But what's happening is you're allowing yourself too much time. And so you're outsmarting yourself and you're talking yourself out of it. And that's why I wanted to share with you. Listen, I know it's super simple. And I know, and some people might even think that it's stupid. Counting down to 5, is that what you're telling me? But what I'm saying is sometimes simple things and things that you might believe are a little stupid have the ability to touch and transform and change your life. And so what I'm saying to you right now is next time that you have something that you want to act on, next time that you've got this dream, this vision, this goal in you that you want to push forward on, I'm telling you that you got 5 seconds. You got 5 seconds. That's Mel Robbins. Go ahead and grab a copy of her book. It's called The 5-Second Rule. You got 5 seconds to move forward on your goal, on your dream, on the book, on the business, on whatever it is that you have. You have 5 seconds to move forward before you would talk yourself out of it, before the fear begins to kick in, before you convince yourself that it's not time to act. And so that's all I wanted to share with you tonight. Listen. Is I know right now that you got something that you want to do, something that you've been sitting on, something that's been sitting in your belly, and maybe you're still talking about it, maybe you stopped talking about it. Maybe you've had some things pop up in the past that didn't necessarily work out. But what I'm saying to you is this: is when this urge begins to kick in, and you have this desire to make this thing happen. What I'm saying to you is this: you got 5 seconds. You hear me? 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You got 5 seconds to act and to do what you know and not what you feel, Listen carefully on this. You got 5 seconds to do what you know. What you know is you need to work out. What you know is that you need to write the book. What you know is you got to start the business. What you know is it's time for a career change. What you know is it's time to get out of debt. What you know is it's time for you to be the husband, the father, the mother. It's time for you to be the person. What you know is it's time to forgive whoever you hold that grudge. You know what you have to do. But what I'm saying is you got 5 seconds to do what you know and not what you feel. And when you're willing to act within those 5 seconds, great things begin to happen. When you're willing to act within those 5 seconds, your life can be transformed. And the beautiful thing happens when you act, you empower those around you to act. And so listen, like always, this wouldn't be Andy Henriquez if I didn't end by telling you this. Listen, you got to show up for your lives, ladies and gentlemen. And in many instances, you got 5 seconds to show up. You got 5 seconds to make a decision. You got 5 seconds to act. But you got to show up for your life, ladies and gentlemen, because if you don't show up for your life, if you don't show up and write the book, start the business, make the career shift, be the husband, be the father, the wife, the parent that you want to be, if you don't show up for your life, then guess what? Nobody else will. Hey, listen, I'm so super excited. We took the Show Up for Your Life movement live. We got things going on. I wish y'all could see me. For those of you who are listening right now via the conference call line, I wish you could see me in the studio. You got to talk to the people on the live stream. I am sweating up a storm right now because I just had to go ahead and dig this down from down deep and go ahead and just really share this with you. And so I just want to give a shout out to the people who went ahead and joined me online. Want to give a shout out to Carlito, give a shout out to Theon. I see you, Cousin Carl. Give a shout out to Jacina, a shout out to Gentry, a shout out to Gregory, to Karima, to Jeff, to Timothy, to Siraj. Listen, I just want to give a shout out to so many of you because, listen, I don't take it lightly that you decide to tune in and join me and be part of this message tonight. But I knew I had a message for you, and I'm so grateful that you decided to tune in, and most importantly, that you decided to share this time with me. And so like I always do, I'm going to go ahead and open up the conference call line so I could chit chat with the people on the conference call line. But for those of you right now who tuned in via the live stream, I'm about to give you a quick shout out. And before I do that, I just want to say, if you got some value from this message, I want you right now to go ahead and hit the share button. Share this message, share with a friend, share with a family member. Let them know that they need to watch this message because, listen, you may be able to help them to change their life in just 5 seconds. In just 5 seconds, you may be able to help them to change their life. Now, for those of you who are connected with me, you can join the Show Up for Your Life group by going to showupgroup.com. Open up a separate web browser. Type in showupgroup.com, showupgroup.com. That's going to direct you to our private Facebook page, and go ahead and send us a request to join the Facebook page, and we'll be more than happy to accept your request and have you join the Show Up for Your Life family. We got about 1,000 people in there right now who have been people who've listened in on the Thursday night motivational message. Hey, listen, I've enjoyed this experience. I'm bringing the Show Up for Your Life motivational movement via live stream on YouTube, on Facebook. So listen, I think we're going to go ahead and do this again. So listen, you could join me the same time, same place next week, Thursday, 8:00 p.m. Eastern time. You can join on me and you can count on me to bring you a message, something that you're going to be able to apply to your life that's going to allow you to show up and take your life to an entirely different level. Listen, this has been Andy Henriquez. For those of you who are tuning in right now via the live stream, I thank you so much for tuning in. God bless you. Make sure you share this message, and I'm out. Thank you so much. Lewis.